If you've ever scrolled through a Zoomer's chat history or social media DMs, you may have noticed a peculiar trend. Instead of relying on plain text, these netizens often communicate using a quirky assortment of fruits, vegetables, and animals, otherwise known as emojis. But what's more intriguing is that many of these emojis have evolved into modern-day sexual metaphors, a practice that isn't as novel as you might think. In fact, this frisky emoji language dates back to the late Renaissance in Rome, coinciding with the rise of contemporary sociological practices. Let's rewind to an era that began with the likes of Raphael and concluded with the masterful Caravaggio. The visual artists of the 16th century found themselves captivated by subjects from the natural world and everyday life. This curiosity gave birth to a humorous genre that ingeniously transformed ordinary food items into clever visual puns. It's worth noting that Renaissance learned erotica, as distinct from the more common forms of pornography, was steeped in metaphors, wordplay, and elaborate rhetorical devices. And it just so happened that certain fruits and vegetables lent themselves rather well to conveying sexual innuendos. The idea that fruits and veggies could be anthropomorphic can be traced back to the doctrine of signatures, a concept promoted for centuries by herbalists searching for signs to the efficacy of God's creations. But the epicenter of this curious relationship between food and desire was none other than Papal Rome, primarily due to its predominantly male population. Here, renowned painters like Raphael and Caravaggio infused their works, even those of religious themes, with suggestive elements like figs, peaches, melons, and squashes. The earliest instance of this can be found in the frescoes adorning the Loggia di Psici at the renowned Italian Villa Chigi, now known as Villa Farnesina, a hub for contemporary Italian art. One of Raphael's associates, Giovanni da Udine, left suggestive depictions of fruits and vegetables within these paintings. In the words of biographer Giorgio Vasari, above the flying figure of Mercury, Giovanni da Udine fashioned a priapus from a gourd and 2 eggplants for testicles, while nearby he painted a cluster of large figs, one of which, overripe and bursting open, is penetrated by the gourd. Frangipani, a Friulan artist, presented a prominent example of this symbolism in his painting Allegory of Autumn. Here, a leering satyr playfully prods a split melon with one finger, while his other hand clutches a nearby sausage, surrounded by a cluster of cherries. This vividly evokes the erotic dreams of the napping youth beside him. In another painting attributed to Frangipane, playfully named Satire on a Madrigal Performance, or The Madrigal Singers, the artist humorously mocks the refinement of music by placing singers around a table, playfully adorned with peaches and sausages. This quirky practice of infusing artworks with subtle sexual undertones wasn't confined to visual arts. Poets and writers also ventured into linking the parallels of food and desire, composing bawdy poems laden with sexually suggestive agricultural metaphors. Some of these works celebrated homoeroticism, reflecting the 16th century's fascination with the male anatomy. Yet, it wasn't just humor and innuendo. Botanists credit these creations for providing unique insights into the horticultural practices of the time, offering a detailed view of identifiable insect predations and disease damage. While the practice of using produce as symbols of desire dwindled in popularity in Rome after 1600, Dutch and Flemish painters revived it in later years. This genre, with its cheeky wit, still served as a fascinating metaphor for the culture of post-Reformation Rome. In a society marked by uncertainty and the quest for religious and political orthodoxy, humor offered a permissible outlet for transgressive desires.